This is the Oz Machine Company Roosevelt. This is one of the hottest new knives to come around in a while. And Jake from Bearded Gear was kind enough to send this to me to check out. And I totally get it. I get it. The Oz Machine Company is a mom pop shop, self-described, in Indiana, headed up by knife maker Daniel Osborne, knife maker, engineer. And this knife here, well, let me just say I'm really happy it's out of my wheelhouse, so to speak, in that this is one of those knives that if it were larger, it would be a moral imperative for me to buy, but usually I have to find an excuse not to get something. The excuse not to get this is A, they're hard to come by, and B, they're expensive, and C, I probably wouldn't carry it too much, or it would be a secondary knife just because of the size. All right, so now that all of that is out of the way, you have to know that this is one of the it feels like one of the finest knives I've ever held. And I'm going to tell you all about the specs of this, and I don't usually do that, but they have a page on the website that explains this knife, and it made me like it even more. So this 3-inch blade, fully flat ground, nice broad shape. This is Z-Finite, which is also LC200N, which is the blade steel that Spyderco uses on their Salt series. Super highly corrosion resistant steel. It's also very, very thin behind the edge and extremely sharp. By the way, nice swedge. I really like the look of the swedge. And that cutout is optimized for Spidey flicking. And that's not just my opinion. You will see that on their website. They say that this knife is designed primarily for that opening method. Spidey flicking, where you use the other side. But you can also thumb flick with ease and slow roll. It's a really nice opening shape. That looks like a smile or something. I don't know, but it works very, very well. So the handle here is almost 4 inches of 5 series titanium, and it's got this really gorgeous milling pattern in it. It's sort of it reminds me of the old superhero what was it, the superhero cartoons with Aquaman, and he would make, he would call out to whales, and he would see this. I think they call this the golf ball pattern, but I could be mistaken. In any case, beautifully, beautifully milled. Not only does it look great, but if you can hear that, feels great in hand. Really nice texture. And, and I have not used this knife, but I have a feeling that this would be a really excellent texture wet. Maybe it's because of all the intersecting lines and such, and the the irregularity of all the shapes, but it feels like it would just stay in your hand really nicely. But it would do so not just because of that awesome milling. It would definitely do so because of the ergonomics of this, the handle. Look at that. These are all sequentially numbered. This is number 209. Okay, back to sort of spec talk. So that's a 1/4 inch pivot. And okay, so now we're getting to some really interesting details. This is on stainless steel bearings. It has really, really nice action on stainless steel bearings. And then inside here, I have a little flashlight to illustrate this, but so you can see the weight reduction pockets milled into the inside. Into the inside of that titanium right there. But here's a really cool detail. It's got 2 detent balls on the AEBL stainless steel lock bar insert. And I'm going to try and, all right, you see those 2 balls in there? One of them, yeah, you can see them right there. It's about as good as I can do. But that sort of reduces or eliminates and you can see the two D10 holes in the blade too. Eliminates, when you close it, that double sort of click where you have to overcome get the lock bar over the tang and all that. Some people drive a ramp in there. This double detent system seems to work really, really well, because I mean, it just drops shut, you know, and is just extremely smooth. Ergonomics of this knife, it just feels great in hand. This it's not a 50-50 choil. It's more like a 66-33 or 75-25 choil, but you've got part handle, part blade acting as that forward part of the choil, which or forward part of the grip, which I really like, because excuse me, you're packing in as much blade length as you can in a small overall package, because the blade and the handle are sharing the responsibility of the forefinger placement. And so you can get that blade coming all the way up to your finger, so you can do all of that fine work that you do. This has a continuously sweeping belly, though in hand, this is effectively like a flat right here. Double finger choil. I'm a fan of double finger choils. I like a single finger choil best. Double in a case like this just feels so good. You go beyond that and then it starts to mismatch with my fingers. I don't like double finger choils usually, but two finger choils works really nicely. Look at this. This is just a beautiful looking knife too. Now I gotta be totally honest and frank. I was able to ignore this knife in social media, and what I mean by that is ignore it out of self-preservation. Like, oh, there's another amazing, beautiful, well-made knife by an interesting upstart company, but it's not crazy enough looking, or it's just small enough I can ignore it. I don't have to spend that money. I don't have to get involved. But now I want to get involved. It's just so nice. It's so nice. Okay, so I'm going to finish showing this off, the sculpted titanium pocket clip. So simple, so elegant. I love this design. And I also love a pocket clip that perches half on the body and then half on the clip, so you don't have to worry about the clip being an area where you can slow down the action. Though, that being said, I haven't really found an issue with it on my Chris Reeve knives that have the clip resting completely on the lock bar. But I do see how that could be a problem if you're ham-fisted or something like that. Very sharp, you can hear it. All right, let me show this off with a couple of other knives. And one thing I would have wanted on this is a lanyard option. I know you're gasping. I know you're gasping right now. And I'm not necessarily saying putting a hole in this very nice handle. But, you know, maybe something back here. And I'll tell you why. Sometimes on very special knives, I like to put a little leather fob. And in a way, it marks its permanence in my collection. And for a while, I always end up taking it off, but for a while, it's like jewelry for the knife itself. And this knife is so special. If it were part of my collection, I would no doubt do that, at least for a period of time. However, I couldn't because of this. But you know what? You know, maybe I'm too attached to that ritual. Before I show off other stuff, I just have to comment on how perfect this jimping is. Especially, the blade jimping is nice. It's not too much under thumb, and it gives great indexing and grip. But this jimping in the handle is just, it's perfect, like Microtech jimping in their aluminum. Anyway, all right, so very nice, very nice, very nice. Let me show it off with a couple of knives here. One it reminded me of immediately was the Spyderco Sage Two, I think maybe that's the double finger choil, the fact that the only real comfortable way to hold it is fully engaged in those choils. I mean, I guess you could hold this like that if you're a total nerd, but this obviously feels way better. And so these knives are kindred spirits in some ways. And man, it would be nice to have this to put on the same shelf. All right, next is the most excellent Vero Engineering Synapse, and a little bit bigger, but kind of same, just luxurious knife, same sort of luxurious feel. Though the Oz is, I don't know, it takes it one step simpler, one step thinner, one step a little bit more, I don't know, svelte, and something about that. It's a little bit simpler, and I really appreciate that. Next, here it is with the RSK Mark I, the Ritter Hogue RSK Mark I. That's a 3-inch, nearly 3-inch blade. And let's see, one more. Here it is with the Tactile Knives Rockwall. Great little EDC knife. So in some ways dwarfed by the Oz, in other ways, you know, exactly the same, and that is in terms of length and handle to blade ratio. Oh wait, I did have one more other knife to show it with. Here it is with the Concept. And I'm only showing that because it's a small titanium frame lock, and I don't have too many of them. Obviously, very different knives, but this one actually, oh no, it doesn't. Forget it. Okay, so Daniel Osborne. I love this knife. Just so incredibly done. I'm going to flick it a couple of times. I definitely prefer its intended Spidey flick. And man alive, go to their website, go to the Oz Machine website, and just you know, do a fantasy browse and look in the museum of the different versions of this knife they put out, and check out all the different ways you can order this knife. My dad would sometimes go on the Bentley website and sort of just put together his dream convertible Bentley with all the colors and the leather and everything the way he wanted it. And then when he was done, he'd say, see, I didn't have to buy the car. So you can do that with Oz, but I do recommend you buy the knife because, man, it is awesome. It is awesome. There is a reason why it's on the very top, at the very top of many of the people we know and trust who are real knife reviewers on YouTube. So definitely check out the Oz Roosevelt, and if you have the means, I highly recommend you pick one up. Thanks for watching.